Okay, today we're going to talk about is seeing about getting this coil, if we had a coil gun, to run at 30 volts DC. It's possible, I think. You may think it's not possible, but it is. Got a whole bunch of capacitors inside of in parallel at the bottom of this thing. The switch here. Make sure you use one of these 15 amp light switches, a single pole level throw switch, ones they use for like a two-way switch or three-way, whatever you want to call it. That lets us actually switch one thing on from one side of the room and switch it on off from the other side of the room. Those type of switches, because they are called a single pole double throw switch. You know, I might not say that on it, but it is. I have 9 capacitors wired up in parallel. As you see here, 9 of them. And their value is 1,000 microfarad at 50 volts each. It'd be nice to have 50 volt power supply, but we don't have that, so we only have 30 volts. So we'll try it with 30 volts. They add us some AA batteries and maybe boost it up to 50 if we want to try it. I might be able to do that. In fact, let me think. I need a lot of batteries though. But we'll work on that later on. Anyway, here's what we got. We have this coil here. It's on this black tube. I got this black tube off of a yard light, one of those solar powered yard lights. I come on the tube that goes into the ground. I cut part of it off of there. I tried cutting one of those solder tubes with it, but it won't work with scissors, and I tried using a knife and I accidentally cut my finger. That's why you see this on my finger here. So I accidentally cut my finger with trying to cut one of them tubes. I should have did is use one of these tubes, and I have no problem with it because I can cut with scissors instead of a knife. Anyway, we have a 30 volt 5 amp power supply we're going to use it off of, and we're going to see if we can is this thing recording audio? Good, it's recording audio. Okay, I'll just make sure this thing was recording audio before I continue on. This is new. I can't use my cell phone for camera because it's broke, so I'm using my webcam. So everything might be that perfect. You might see that window. I'm just running it inside of a program, then recording off the screen. But that's the best I can do. Anyway, there's a coil here. This coil I got. The coil is a wire that comes from a broken TV. I took the deflection coil out of a TV, and then I used this wire from the deflection coil to make the coil for the coil gun. It's gonna work, I believe. You can go ahead and try it. Okay, now they got the power supply hooked up. It's 31 volts, 31.9 volts, almost 32 volts. And what we're gonna do is I have power wires on here. Right here, the longer one, this longer lead right here is, I can't see that because of my shadow by blocking the light, and it'll make it impossible to see what's on the screen. Damn it! Hang on, might have something to fix that. I can find it this time. I'll have to do without it. But let's try it anyway. Hope you can see it. Make sure I'll just try staying away from the sparks here so you can see what's going on. First, gonna try. I gotta get these wires hooked up. They're positive. And then it might make a little spark because it might try charging the capacitors up. The switch might be turned on for the capacitors, and it might not be charged. In the negative. Nope, it must be on the coil or not charged. We'll go over this schematic pretty soon. After I get this done, okay, it's hooked up and it should be. We should clip it off that black wire. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the coil, the screw here. Try launching it. Okay, now watch this. This here is the current measurement, and this is the voltage measurement. Now watch as I turn it on. You'll probably see the current go up a little bit, then start going down. It's normal. See? Take it off, and look, it launches it. You just saw that. I hope. I'll do it again because I might have been in the light. I don't know if I was in the light or not. I might have been. So let's try it again. Screw back in it. Flip the switch. There we go. You saw it jump out of there like that. And let's try something else. That's 9,000 microfarads on there. It's bigger than this capacitor over here. They got it smaller. This here is a 5,600 microfarad at 200 volts DC. It has more voltage though, but it could probably be made with lower voltages, with the same amount of voltage like this is, and be smaller. Yeah, definitely smaller. Okay, now let's try putting something even longer in. This is a little bit heavier. Has a spring attached to the bottom for I don't know what reason. I'm gonna stick it in here. Look it. Yeah, it shoots it out just like that. You just saw it. I hope. I don't know if did you see it? Or am I blocking the light? We'll try it a few more times, just to see if I'm just lucky and that makes it go out there, or if it does it all the time. My other one, I was lucky the last time. Doesn't do it all the time. The first one I built, as you saw in one of my videos, and it was on 170 volts DC. Did it again, as you can see. One more time. Put it in this way. Hold it down. Flip the switch. It still did it. Come out this way though. And that's basically how it works. You can probably do this for a double A battery or so. I might check. See, I'm gonna check to see if I have enough double A batteries to make 50 volts without going over. I may or may not have enough. I might be able to take a 9 volt in there. 9 volt plus 31.9, that'd be 40 volts. Who knows? We might have enough. I'll go see. Okay. I couldn't find any batteries, anything like that before to use it. I'm not going to do it anywhere that way. But anyway, let's show you what I got here. I got the diagram for it. The battery source is 30. Oh, you can see that. Can you see that? Need a this webcam, I tell you. Right here is your 30 volts DC. Up here, you got your capacitor bank. Positive, negative, all capacitors are in parallel, and they're connected to the same polarity. Then between the capacitor bank and the other parts of the circuit, the coil and battery, other negative terminal of the battery is controlled by a single pole double throw switch, and this should be a light switch for a house. One. It shouldn't be. Well, you might be able to get away if you're in a high current one, without those small ones. But the thing is, it may break because that's a lot of current to go through it. It's not that much current. It's probably about this. There's only like at a certain amount of short time has that much current. Anyway, this here's the switch here. Right here is our coil, and I'll tell you how that works in a minute. And this here goes to the negative terminal of the battery or power supply, which in my case is a power supply. So where is it? It was over here. So for this here, the circle thing is a plus and minus right here. That's this here. Then this here, the capacitor bank, that would be this right here. The black things that are there that look like batteries and stuff, but they're not batteries, they're capacitors. They're all soldered up in parallel, connected to each other to give out more current, more capacitance. Then your coil is right here. This coil is it can be made from any kind of wire, from magnet wire. It can have look like regular wire. You can use regular wire if you wanted to, but magnet wire works the best for me, I think. This kind, I think. Now I put a twisty tie to hold the switch in there and the coil. So the coil's right here is hold down with a twisty tie. If we're not twisty tie, it's a cable tie. And the two cable ties on the switch right there, as you see, holding it in there. Now this is, you want to know how the circuit works, so it's very basic and simple. When you first turn it on, you have your switch pointing at this is connected to the negative. It'll be on the negative, not the coil. And what happens is this will charge the capacitor bank up. If you have a power supply like mine, you can tell by how when it's charged when there's hardly any current flowing to it, when the current goes to zero. At first it'll go from high current down to low. And what happens is it stores this charge. Then when the capacitors, all the capacitor charge, you flick the switch, you discharge it through the coil. That coil has a burst of energy going through it that makes a big, huge magnetic field movement. It moves the magnetic item inside the coil. And with that burst of energy, it can do that. And the thing is, it could probably be done with 1 kilovolt. Could probably do 15 kilovolts if you have a strong enough wire and capacitors. And make sure it's DC. This can be done off the house current, but you have to use different capacitors and stuff like that. The wires my coil might be different because it'll probably, because remember it's going through a coil there with low resistance. I measured it; it had almost zero, almost had a few milliohms on it. And that's basically how it works. You charge the coil up, you charge the capacitors up, and then you discharge it to the coil. That burst of energy causes it to make a big magnetic pulse, magnetic field, not pulse field, pulse is something else. And that burst of energy moves it out to the outside the coil, and it'll fly it out. Now, if you can do, there's other ways of doing this. There's a better way of doing this. I see people put like multiple coils in, and you have to use like infrared and photo transistors. I'm not doing that. You can probably use the photo transistor for a regular one. It'll probably make it even better. If you use the photo transistor in an infrared diode, you could probably make it fly it out of the boiler so it won't saturate. The current will saturate and waste current on it. Well, I don't know how that works, but I seen someone on Electro Boom on YouTube, and what he did is he put a light emitting diode, what do you call it? Infrared one, and a photo transistor right by the edge of the end of the gun. And then when it moved, then when the bullet got past the infrared and photo transistor, it shut the coil off. It might be because what happens is it tries pulling it back in. Could be the reason. Well, I found out it doesn't. I think it looks good enough the way it is. It's simple. It's good enough. You don't need to put any more of that stuff in there with charging. We're separated from having a turn off at a certain point. It's good enough. It works that well. I like it. And it's totally safe. This one here is totally safe. The one I made before, it went off the house current, and the capacitors can hold enough voltage. It can be lethal, and it can hurt people if they touch it and they touch the capacitor lead or wire it wrong. The capacitor could blow up real bad. It doesn't usually don't blow up if you have it wired, or if your capacitor is made for that voltage and you wire it up correctly. If you wire it backwards, the capacitor can go bang, or the vents could bust open and it starts spraying out the electrolyte. And that's how you do a coil gun. So there you go. Yes, it is possible you wanted a coil gun off of 30 volts, that low voltage. You could probably if you had a super capacitor, you could probably go down to 12 or 5 volts and run off of it. If you have a really big capacitor, you could probably do that. That's the whole idea. I'll show you in a minute when I will explain how the calculation of the energy and stuff is calculated. We'll get that going right here. I'll just use this one right here, this calculator here. Turn it on. I hope you can see that. Can you see what's on the calculator? Hardly. The thing would just show the digit up. I might have to use the other one. Okay. We'll use a graphing one. where I put it. Yeah, you can see that better. Let's try rolling in some stuff in there. So I have 0.5 times 0.0009, since that's capacitance is in microfarads, you have to put it in farads. The 0.05, the 0.5, that's the first part of the equation. It's a constant. Then you have to multiply it by 0.09, which is 009, which is your capacitance. Multiply it by the voltage, which we say 31.9. Square it. Square your voltage, and that gives you a total of almost 4.5 joules of energy. That'll be going to that coil. 4.5 joules, or 4.579.245 joules. And if you have 50 on it, let's see what I have with 50 to 50 volts. .25 joules, or 11.25 of a joule you'll have. That's a lot. That's a lot more than what we did with that. So if you get 50 volts, you might be able to get to go. Might get to do better. Might even shoot out of there. I might try. I'm gonna try and make it when I go to snow sometime with the high voltage on it, and see if I can launch it. We'll launch it real hard. Since it worked pretty well. I think the problem is last time when I did it, it didn't do very far because I had it in a straw, and that was just too thin of material, not wide enough and stuff. Because I'm doing pretty better with this tube, this big tube going through it instead of a straw. Now let's see what happens if that was at 170 volts. Forgot to square it. Square it again. Do it again. I forgot to square the voltage. 130.05 joules. That is amazing. That's a lot. That's a lot of joules. And joules is just it's an expression of energy and stuff. Like coulomb is a charge, and there's joules. There's volts, amps, ohms, resistance, whatever it does electronics. I'm just calculating what the power would be in that capacitor bank you just saw that we use for the coilgun. And the coilgun only had like 4.05 joules, but there was enough to move metal from inside of it, fly it right out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So thanks for watching. Hope you like it.